Hi guys, good morning. In this class, we are going to understand uh, the first concept in advanced Java, that is JDBC. Okay, so what I want to here is I want to make the advanced Java into three parts. So part number one is JDBC, part number two is servlets, and part number three is JSP. Okay, in today's class, that means in today's workshop. So this is continuously for a 1 to 1.5 hour, 2 hours workshop. We will be discussing on a JDBC. Okay, now let's get started. So what is this JDBC? JDBC stands for, okay, so JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. Okay, so JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. Okay, so JDBC is an API. Okay, so JDBC is an API. So what is a API? API means application programming. Okay, so application programming interface. Okay, so a API consists of all the classes. Okay, so all the classes and interfaces, all the classes and interfaces which are used to perform any task. Okay, so what is a API? A API consists of all the classes and interfaces, so which are used to perform any task here. Okay, so to perform any particular task, we should have some classes and interfaces, right? So all those things will be available inside a particular API here. Okay, next steps to okay, so steps to create a API. Okay, so what are the steps to create a API? Very simple, guys. Step number one. What is step number one? Write. Okay, so write classes and interfaces. Okay, so write classes and interfaces and save as. Okay, and save as something like a file name dot java, something file name dot java. This is step number one. And what is step number two? Step number two here is, so compile the above. Okay, so compile the above program and execute the file which gives, okay, so which gives dot class file. Okay, so which gives dot class file. Step number three. What is step number three? Pack all the dot class files. Okay, so pack all the dot class files into a jar. Okay, using command Java. Okay, using command line Java. Or by using Eclipse. Okay, or by using Eclipse here. So what is a jar? Okay, so what is a jar? Very simple. A jar is a Java RQ runtime. Okay, a jar is a Java RQ. So why it is used? So it consists of several classes. Okay, so several classes which are used for execution of the particular program. Okay, so execution of a particular program. A jar is nothing but a API. Okay, a jar is nothing but a API. What API consists of? Several classes and interfaces, right? Same in the same way, in the jar, all the dot class file will be placed. Such thing is called as what? A jar. Okay, done. Next. So to work with the JDBC. Okay, to work with the JDBC, Sun Microsystems. Okay, Sun Microsystems has given a jar called JDBC. That means API called JDBC API. Okay, so given a API called JDBC API. Okay, done. Now, what is this JDBC API? Okay, so JDBC API is basically used to connect to database. Okay, use it to connect to database from Java application to database. From Java application to database. Its vendor name is Sun Microsystems. Okay, its vendor name is Sun Microsystems. It is basically used to perform CRUD operations. Okay, so CRUD operations, that means what? Create, U for update, R for retrieve, and D for delete. Okay, and D for delete. Okay, done. So for C for create, and U for update, and R for retrieve, and D for delete, or some people will be calling it as what? Read also. Okay, so this is what we can able to perform by using JDBC API. Okay, sir. Now what is the actual diagram? Okay, so how the JDBC looks like. Now let me open. Okay. So this is a Java application. Okay, so this is a Java application. And this is the database. Okay, and this is the database. Now what the main agenda here is? So I want to connect to database from my Java application. So we have to use the API. So what is the API here is JDBC API. Okay, so by using JDBC API, what we can able to do? We can able to connect with the database from our Java application. Okay, database. Next, we can able to perform database related operations also. So this is what we can able to do with JDBC. Okay. Next. Okay. Next, what is the next step here is JDBC API consists of several interfaces. Okay, several interfaces and classes. Those are okay. So those are what? So connection, statement. Next, result set. Okay, result set and metadata. So these are the different types of classes and interfaces where the that means JDBC API consists of, so connection is an class, statement is an interface, result set is an interface, metadata is an interface. Okay, so this is done. Now what is the next step here is, so how actually JDBC architecture looks like. Okay, so JDBC architecture. Now let me define. So first, what is a driver here? So it is a predefined, okay, it is a predefined class which creates, okay, which creates a communication between, which creates a communication between JDBC and database. Sir, I want to create a communication between JDBC and database. So what is the first thing we are going to use? Driver here. Okay. So without driver, okay, without driver, okay, so JDBC concept, okay, so JDBC concept doesn't work, doesn't work. Okay, done. Next. For every database, for every database, we should have, okay, for every database, there will be, there will be one driver, okay, one driver. Each database has its own driver, okay, has its own driver here. Okay, to check, okay, to check whether the, whether the whether the driver is working, okay, working fine or not, we have a, okay, so we have a class called driver manager. Okay, so we have a class called driver manager. So what is the duty of driver manager? So what driver manager will do? Very simple. Driver manager will check. Okay, so driver manager will check whether, okay, so driver manager will check whether the driver is working properly or not. Okay, the driver is working properly or not, or it is loaded, or it is loaded or not, like that. So all the things will be taken care by driver manager. So who is a driver manager? Driver manager is a class here. Okay, so remember, driver manager is a class here. Okay, done. Next, what is the next step here? So what are the some of the examples of drivers? Okay, so some of the examples of drivers. Now let me write some of the examples like Oracle driver. Yeah, Oracle driver. Next, MySQL driver. MySQL driver. Next, Sybase driver. Okay, so Sybase driver. So these are the different types of drivers. So with respect to different types of databases here. So these are the simple driver examples. So what I took here. So after this, it is clear. Now, to work with, okay, so to work with JDBC, to work with JDBC, all the, okay, so all the classes and interfaces, okay, so all the classes and interfaces are coming from a package called, Java X dot, okay, so Java dot SQL. Okay, so Java dot SQL is a package. So this is the first one. Okay, so there is another package is there. Okay, that means what? So for this Java dot SQL package, there is an extension. So what is that extension package here is? So Java X dot SQL package is an extension one. Okay. Sir, what are the things that are available inside this Java.SQL package and Java X.SQL package? Like some of the, okay, like some of the classes and interfaces are defined inside these packages, such as, such as prepared statement, result set. Okay, so prepared statement, result set, and row set, etc. So some of the things that are defined. Okay, so prepared statement, result set, and row set. That means to work with JDBC, we will be consist of some classes and interfaces like prepared statement, connection, result set, all those things where we will be available inside these two packages. So these are what some of the examples here. Okay, next to work with JDBC, our output, our output should be converted into SQL, which is understandable by which is understandable by database. So which is understandable by database here. Next, what is a metadata? So what is a metadata? So it provides the information about data. That means what? So data about data. So data about data is called as what? Is called as metadata. Is called as metadata. Example. So example. So what is the example here? For example, let me take data is 10. So data is 10. Its metadata is so its metadata is so 10 is of what type? So it is of what type? That means type number. So of which column? Something like SID. Is it primary key or not? So is it PK, primary key? Yes or no? So all the information will be stored. That means it will accept null or not? Null. So it will accept null or not, like that. So this is what something simple example about metadata. Okay. Okay. So this is what some information about metadata. Now, what is the next step here is, so what are the steps? So what are the steps to, uh, that means steps to develop a JDBC program. So what are the steps here? So what is the step number 1? Uh, so load and register the driver. So load and register the driver. Sir, what it will do? So it will so it will make a link between Java application. It will make a link between Java application and database. And database. It is a class in JDBC. It is a class in JDBC. So which implements driver interface. Which implements driver interface. So load and register the driver here. Next, what is step number 2? Step number 2 here is so creating the connection. So what is creating connections? So to create a connection, we should provide. So we should provide so location and details of the location and details of the database, like URL, URL, username, and password. Okay. So we have to provide some location details like URL, username, and password. Like to which database you want to connect, and what is the username of that database, and what is the password of that database here. Next, step number 3 here is so create statement. Okay, so create statement. Sir, what is this statement? Okay, so it indicates. Okay, it indicates a SQL query which has to be which has to be that means what? Which has to be given to database. Okay, which has to be given to database. One statement object. Okay, so one statement object is equals to one SQL query. Okay, so one statement object is equals to one SQL query. Next one is what? So execute the statement. Okay, so execute the statement. Execute the statement means what? Okay, so give the SQL query and execute that SQL query at a database. Okay, at a database. Now, what is the last step here? Last step here is get the result. Okay, so get the result. Sir, what is the meaning of the get the result? Get the result means what? Okay, so final result from the uh, database after performing. Okay, so after performing SQL query. Okay, SQL query execution. So that means it is given. Okay, it is given to result set object. Okay, it is given to result set object for a select operation or for a non-select operation. It is given to. Okay, so it is given to int or boolean. Okay, so it is given to int or boolean. Okay, next, what is the step number 6? Step number 6 here is so print the result. Okay, so print the result. Okay, so print above result. Next, what is step number 7? Step number 7 is close the connection. Okay, so close the database connection is the step number 7. Okay, done. Next. Sir, what are the types of operations? Okay, so what are the types of operations that are performed at database? At database, we can perform. Okay, we can perform two types of operations. Those are one, select operations, and two, non-select operations. So select operations and non-select operations. Okay, so what is the meaning of select operations? Like select query. Okay, select query. What is non-select operations? Non-select operations means what? Like insert. Okay, so update, delete, like all those things. This is what non-select operations here. So these are the types of operations what we can able to perform at database. Okay, next. Let me take a note here. Note. So result set is only, okay, now observe guys, result set is only applicable for, okay, applicable for select query only. Sir, if my operation is select operation, then only we can able to work with result set. Okay. If it is, okay, so if it is non-select operation, if it is non-select operation, then int or boolean. Okay, then int or boolean is applicable. Okay, so is applicable. Then next. Sir, what are the commonly used database queries? Sir, what are the commonly used database queries? Let me write here some commonly used database queries. So database. Okay, so database user. I want to create a user. So how to create a user? Create user. Okay, something like username identified by. Okay, so identified by some password. Next. Next, after this, what we have to do? Grant DBA to. Okay, so grant DBA to username. So to which user? That means to for the which user you want to grant. Okay, so we have to write this. What is this? Grant DBA to username like this. Next one. What is the next one here? Like something like alter user. Okay, so username identified by password. Okay, so identified by password. Next, connect username slash password. Okay, so connect the username slash password. Next, drop user. Okay, so username, something like cascade. Okay, so these are the some of the queries with respect to creating the user at the database level. Next, what is the next queries here is database table. Okay, so database table. Like I want to create a table. So create table, table name. Okay, so something like SID number. Okay, so yes name, varchar2. Okay, so varchar2 of 10, comma, yes, yes fee, something like a number like this. Okay. Next, I want to provide the description about table. Okay, so description of table name. Next, I want to alter the table, alter table. Okay, so table name, something like I want to drop the column. Okay, so drop column, something like column name. Okay, next, I want to modify the table. Okay, that means I want to add a new column. So alter table. Okay, so alter table, table name, something like add column. Okay, so something like column name. Okay, done. This is what. Next.